Greetings, musical humans and sentient beings, wherever you may be. Coming to you live from planet Earth. I actually recorded because it's YouTube, but whatever. Third from the sun, A&G Central Music, Troy, Michigan. I am Robert.
I'm Josh.
And we would like to have a conversation with you.
Yes.
So, Josh, if you're excited about the conversation, what'd you bring to conversate about?
Well, I didn't really prepare anything.
Not unusual.
But the students are getting ready for Solo and Ensemble this weekend.
Solo and Ensemble is a big
Ensemble.
weekend. Big weekend, Josh. Did you ever do a solo ensemble?
I did a lot of Solo and Ensemble.
I did a lot of solo
Solos and
ensemble.
ensembles.
Yes,
Yep.
a lot of it. It's a good experience, right?
Very good.
Could be kind of intimidating for a first-time student, I think, just
Yeah.
because it's an unknown. But maybe if we demystify it today and talk a little bit about what it is and what it isn't,
Yeah.
have a good perspective on it, a lot of students can enjoy their weekend. What do you think?
Yeah.
So what happens, what makes solo ensemble different from what a student would experience like every day in their band class or a private lesson?
So in band class, you're performing all together, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Solo and Ensemble, you're either preparing a solo or a small ensemble.
So it's a smaller scale?
Yeah, smaller group. It opens up some more literature that you can play. Maybe you can play with different kids in your band that you normally don't sit next to.
So now do you take this performance and perform it like where your band performs, or what do you do?
Okay, well, so you prepare it, and then you're going to go to a specific site. At that site, there's going to be professional musicians that are there that'll listen to your performance and give you a critique. You know.
Oh, okay. So what makes the preparation for this maybe different than what students do on the regular for their band class or their exercises that they're doing for their private lesson?
So there's actually I think there's a little more ownership by the students for this because it is a smaller scale. Usually the students are picking their own music for this, whereas for band class, for band class, you basically get your music passed out and that's what you're going to play. So you're exploring different solos, different small group literature, and selecting something for yourself to prepare that you enjoy.
And then is the preparation process any different, or do you approach that maybe the same way as you approach everything?
So I think it's a little more individual.
I think you have the opportunity to get a little bit more in depth maybe than you would with some of the other things that you do, right? Certainly you go through and you get all your notes and rhythms.
That's first.
Dynamics you get down, but then you really have the opportunity to break down the music and make your performance as musical as you can.
For sure.
Right? You get a little bit deeper into it, and in some ways you can make that music your own. You're creating a performance, whether it's in a small ensemble or it's in a solo situation, you're creating something that is your best version of what it is that you're playing, right? Agreed,
yeah. Whereas when you're playing in a normal band class, it's also fun and musically gratifying, but you are just filling a role amongst a large group.
And you potentially don't have as much say in what that performance is going to be because you have a conductor who is going to be the lens through which that music is interpreted.
For sure.
Right? So when you're preparing for solo ensemble, what kind of stuff do you do with the music to prepare?
Well, like you said, number one is you do have to get all the notes and rhythms. If you don't have that, you can't do the other stuff. But once you get that down, it's all about interpretation, style, articulation, dynamics, emotion. All these things you can add to the music to make it specifically yours. You know?
Yeah, there are things too that can help you with that. Certainly there are recordings of the piece that you're playing. You can listen to it and see what other people's interpretations are, maybe how your feelings about the music are different than theirs.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so we've spent a lot of time practicing.
Yes.
We've got our performance as musical as we can get it. Then what happens with that performance? Do we go play on a stage like we do with a band, or like what's that festival performance experience like?
Well, it's definitely similar but on a smaller scale. Like you're going to a site, you're going to play for that judge, that professional musician, at a specific time in a specific place, and it's going to be the snapshot of your preparation that one time. So.
Okay, yeah, and that's a really important concept to grasp, and maybe that's a good place to wrap this conversation up. I talk to many students who perform at Solo Ensemble, and I think that the healthiest perspective is to remember just what you said, that this is a snapshot of a particular performance on a particular day.
Right.
Right? All of the work that we've done, there are certainly going to be times where in our practice studio we have performed this piece and that performance in our mind is better than what we put forward on the day of solo ensemble. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
And sometimes we're just going to knock it out of the park, right? The important thing to remember is you're not being judged as much as you're being taught.
Right.
The feedback from your adjudicator is really to tell you where you are at that moment on that day with that performance.
Right.
Some of the things that you're going to be told, you may say, oh yeah, I knew that and I've played it better than that before. And that's part of what we've talked about many times. We talk about live music, right? The beauty of live music is it's here and it's gone. And every performance is different. And some things remain the same in performances and sometimes they change. The important thing to do is to take that feedback that we get, put it into our process so that the next time we play, we're even more musical.
Right. Right.
Right? So sometimes people agree with your interpretations. Sometimes they won't. Sometimes you'll have your best day. Sometimes you won't. But the feedback you get at festival is not the be-all and end-all of your musical career.
Yeah. You just got to make sure you're not taking something that could be constructive negatively. When you spend a lot of time on something, I think it's easy to be like, oh, I spent a lot of time on this and they didn't like how I did this. But really, everyone just wants you to get better and have a good performance.
Yep.
That should be the spirit of the event, I think.
So, solo and ensembles, it turns out, it's a really fun opportunity to play music that you don't play every time. It's an opportunity to be your most musical self, but there's a lot more to it than that.
Yeah.
So maybe we should come back and have another conversation.
Yes.
You tell us. Like, subscribe, watch.
Be awkward. Spread the word.
Hey, listen, it's cold outside. Keep your eyes open for some Yeti.
Oh, yeah.
They could be out there.
The truth is out.
Why is it so hard?
Talking is hard.
Oh.
You got to use words, syllables.
Can we just use telepathy?
Yes.
That's dangerous.
Probably be boring to watch.
Yeah.